Hello and welcome to the Whoniverse. In this video I will be continuing a series of videos looking into the history of all things Doctor Who, as requested by you. This time I am going to be looking into the history of the species known as the Silurians, or Homo Reptilia. The Silurians are humanoid reptiles that have featured in Doctor Who many times. Some are peaceful, some, well, aren't so peaceful. They are a race built upon vast advances in technology and medicine, and once had their own empire. So how did it all begin? The Silurians are reptilian humanoids, meaning they have cold blood and reptilian features such as scales. The Silurians are actually the rightful owners of planet Earth, which makes their storyline quite unique compared to their generic human versus alien storyline. The Silurians began back in prehistoric times and built an empire. They evolved much like humanity in terms of technological advancements and advancements in other areas such as medicine and democracy. They had numerous colonies spread across the planet, each with its own democracy and scientists. The colonies of Silurians cared for the planet. Some Silurians came under attack from the parasite known as the repulsive red leech, which produced toxic venom. Depending on the dosage, the poison could cause blindness, paralysis, or even death. In some cases, it would cause the person's skin to become red, waxy, and hard. The Silurians also had to contest with early humans, as in this era the Silurians coexisted in groups of clans that lived alongside their original ape primitives that were developing on their planet. As a lesser species, these humanoids became the primary livestock of the Silurians. In order to improve their flavour, a Silurian scientist by the name of Tulok began to genetically engineer the apes. This led to a faster breeding cycle, as well as intelligence, creating early Homo sapiens. For his genetic crimes, the Silurians banished Tulok and his creations to die in the coming cataclysm. These primitive ape-like men began to hunt in packs and attack the Silurians. They also began to prey on the crops of the Silurians, leading the Earth reptiles to use plagues to attempt to exterminate them. Even through all these events, the Silurians reigned supreme, with uncontested domination of Earth, as the dominant species. The Silurians had grand cities made of metal, an empire. The Silurians, like mankind to come, had many political factions. However, this era was cut short. Some other scientists, such as Dr. Wallach, calculated that a small planetoid was destined to draw the atmosphere away from Earth when it passed very close to it, preventing the surface from being breathable. Because of this impending doom for the Silurian people, the government decreed that all Silurians should go into hibernation under the planet's surface in shelters and wait for the planet to become habitable again. After many years of preparation, the numerous factions, subspecies and clans all sheltered underground in numerous places around the globe. One group of Silurians decided to leave Earth in order to escape the disaster, boarding the Silurian Ark, a spaceship carrying Silurians and several species of dinosaur. They placed themselves in suspended animation with the ship programmed to bring them back to Earth long after the effects of the upcoming disaster. We'll come back to the Silurian Ark later on. The Silurians were unaware the dangerous planetoid that they predicted would draw away the atmosphere was instead drawn into Earth's orbit and became the Moon. As a result, the Silurians were never revived, as the atmosphere was not drawn away from it to return to the planet. Although the atmosphere was never completely drawn off and the creatures on the surface did not suffocate, many mammalian life forms perished, whilst others survive, due to the great forces caused by the Moon's appearance creating cyclones and tidal waves. During millions of years of hibernation, the reactivation machinery of the hibernation units deteriorated. Despite their intentions to punish Tulok, the renegade Silurian scientist, instead sabotaged a number of the hibernation chambers and destroyed them. Over the many millions of years since their original hibernation event, many of the Silurians have awoken from their slumber. In 102 AD, a group of Silurians joined together with an alliance of the Doctor's enemies in their attempt to save the universe in the episode The Pandorica Opens, which was broadcast in 2010. Prior to 1888, a group of Silurians was awoken by the digging of the London Underground. This led to the death of several Silurians. Vastra, a skilled Silurian warrior, who had been awoken by their digging, wanted revenge. The Doctor convinced her to live peacefully in London. In 1888 she resided with her human partner, Jenny, although she fed on human criminals. Around 4 years after these events, Vastra married Jenny. Vastra then proceeded to solve crimes and stop murderers, with the help of Jenny and the unlikely ally of a Sontaran medic named Strax. These three became known as the Paternoster Gang, and helped the 11th Doctor through his dark times after losing Rory and Amy in the 2012 Christmas special, The Snowmen. In 1893, the Paternoster Gang and the 11th Doctor saved the world from Mrs. Gillyflower and her plans of poisoning and preserving the planet with the venom of the repulsive red leech in the 2013 episode The Crimson Horror. Madame Vastra also helped the newly regenerated 12th Doctor defeat the Clockwork Robots from the Madame de Pompadour sister ship in the 2014 episode Deep Breath. In the late 20th century, a group of Silurians were awakened from hibernation by the energy from the nearby Nuclear Power Research Centre at Wenley Moor. After disagreement between Octal and Morka over a course of action, Morka won out, killing Octal, and the Silurians tried to reclaim the planet for humanity by releasing a deadly virus. This plan was prevented by Dr. Liz Shaw of UNIT and the Third Doctor, when they had the cure mass-produced. After this plan was thwarted, they decided using their molecular disperser to destroy Earth's Van Allen belt, so that the sun's radiation would burn the humans to death, while allowing the cold-blooded Silurians to survive. But Liz and the Doctor stopped them again, when they overloaded the disperser and the facility's reactor. Despite the Doctor's best efforts to broker a peaceful solution, the Silurian base was bombed by a unit by order of Brigadier Lethbridge Stewart. These events were shown in the 1917 serial Doctor Who and the Silurians, also known as the Silurians. A few years later, the renegade Time Lord known as the Master found and caused an awakening of sea devils. These were a species related to the Silurians, but adapted for life in the water. Their original name was going to be aquatic Silurians. The Master persuades the sea devils to reclaim the planet from their human race. Despite the Third Doctor's efforts to convince them otherwise, the Sea Devils eventually decide to go to war, forcing the Doctor to destroy their base. It is revealed, however, that there are many colonies still in hibernation around the world. This was shown in the 1972 serial known as the Sea Devils. Fast forward to the 2010s, a Silurian was a resident of the Hidden Trap Street in London, which housed lost aliens on Earth under the protection of Mayor Me. As with the rest of the inhabitants, it appeared cloaked in human form through use of the lurkworms. This was shown in the 2015 episode known as Face the Raven. In 2020, a Silurian city in Wales was awoken by a mining trial, led by Nasreen Chaudhry and Tony Mack. The giant drill had attacked the Silurians' oxygen pockets. The Silurians took corpses from a graveyard for study, as well as Mo Northover and later Amy Pond, as living subjects. Eventually they contained the village in a force field and captured Elliot Northover. Alea came to the surface and was captured, while the 11th Doctor and Nasreen travelled to the Silurian city to negotiate her return for Mo, Elliot and Amy. Alea was guarded by Tony Rory Williams and Ambrose Northover. The 11th Doctor and Nasreen were captured, while Amy and Mo escaped. After an abortive rescue attempt, the Doctor was able to convince the Silurian leader, Eldane, to negotiate with Amy and Nasreen for the future of both their races. Back on the surface, Ambrose tried to help her family and threatened Alea, accidentally killing her, just as the group were summoned to the city. She also set the drill to start burrowing again in 15 minutes. Alea's death and Ambrose's threat to the city was received badly, especially by Alea's sister, Restak, who tried to kill all of the humans in retribution. Eldane managed to lead the Doctor and his friends to the laboratory. He released a deadly gas into the city, following Restak's troops, to return to their hibernation. The Doctor stopped the drilling by destroying the drill with an energy pulse, which also sealed off the city in a cave-in. The timer was set for 1,000 years to permit a second chance at negotiation. The events of 2020 were shown in the two-part story broadcast in 2010, known as The Hungry Earth and Cold Blood. In circa 2084, a group of Silurians allied themselves with the Sea Devils to invade Sea Base 4. They attempted to launch nuclear weapons to provoke a war between the two major power blocks. They were killed when the Fifth Doctor, perceiving no more peaceful option, flooded hexachromite gas in order to kill them. This was shown in the serial known as Warriors of the Deep, broadcast in 1984. Around the 24th century, Solomon sent a distress signal to the Silurian Ark I mentioned earlier. Realizing that they were valuable dinosaurs on board, he and his robots killed the Silurians on board. Unable to pilot the ship to his destination, the Ark headed back to Earth. The 11th Doctor stopped the possible impact with Earth, saved the dinosaurs and defeated Solomon, by using Brian and Rory Williams to fly the Ark away from Earth, as the ship could only be flown by two beings which held the same gene chain, in this instance father and son. These events were shown in the episode Dinosaurs on a Spaceship, which was first broadcast in 2012. In and around the 52nd century, a group of armed Silurian warriors, resembling those from Wales, were called upon by the 11th Doctor to help him in the Battle of Demon's Run, to rescue Amy Pond. Many of these Silurians were killed by the headless monks. And that's it. That is the history of the Silurians so far, from democratic rulers of Earth to squabbling factions who attempted to form peace and destruction with the human race. Some were good, some were bad, and some were ugly. They often looked different, with numerous factions around the globe, with some even forming a great friendship with the Doctor. I don't know when or if the Silurians will be returning, but I hope they do. Thanks for watching this video. If you want to check out more History of Doctor Who videos, there are links on the left. And if you want to keep up to date with my videos and support the channel, then please subscribe. Feel free to comment below and I will be sure to read and reply to them when I can. As at the date of this upload, I am currently on holiday in Northumberland, where the internet is, well, rather appropriately, prehistoric, with this video being scheduled to upload today. Thanks again for watching and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.